Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Hobbymate D6 Duo Charger. Now, for the last year, in fact it's a year to this week, I have been using the ISDT D2 charger and it's been absolutely fantastic. And when I look at both of these chargers, they seem very similar, so I don't know whether this is a copy or maybe ISDT is paired off and we have this, because the build quality and the interface is almost the same. We just have some updated features with this one. So I've got some good experience with this charger because it's been turned on every single day since I've had it and it's not failed and it performs great. There is just one downside with this charger really, and that is that when it's in use it can be quite noisy if you are going heavy on the amp. So it's got two fans in there and they go at quite high RPMs, you know, on and off to cool down the system. And I think this one is going to be the same, so it's got a fan in here. And the reason why they've got fans in is that they are AC chargers, so that means that you don't have to have a separate power supply to power them up. This just has a plug on the end of it and it just goes straight in here and it powers up. In fact, you can hear that fan for a brief second. That's the noise that it makes intermittently while it's charging, maybe for about 10 to 15 second bursts, something like that. So this one is the same. It accepts an AC input as well, and it also accepts DC input. So if you have got a huge battery or if you have got a power supply with an XT60 on the end, then you can plug that into there. It takes from 6 volts to 30 volts and you can actually get more power out of it. So when I reviewed this guy originally, I think I got it slightly wrong. So this is the advantage of having a separate power supply, is that you can go up in power. So with the AC power, it only performs at 200 watts or 12 amps, and I think when I reviewed this guy I said that that was for both of them, but it's not the case. Since having this for a year, if you try and use both of these and set both of them to 12 amps, what it does is it runs this one at 9 amps and this one at around 3, so you can't use both of them at 12 amps. That's never a problem for me though, because I only charge 4 batteries at a time using one of these balance boards, and I just use one of the connectors anyway, so I'm not using both of them. So it is the same with this one actually. So if you use the AC power, you've got your 2 different channels here and you can only do 12 amps in total, and same again, so it runs about 9 amps off this one. I don't know why it favors the second one as the higher amp output, and then this one 3 amps, and of course then if you just use the one, then you can get the full 12 amps out of it. However, if you use the DC input, then you can get 15 amps, so can you see there, 15 amps, you can get it out of both of them at the same time. Now that's not something that I would need to use myself, but you know, if you are a heavy user then it's definitely an upgrade. Another thing that they have done as well is they have allowed external discharging. So if you do have a big battery that you have plugged into here, what you can actually do is, if I choose a channel, so that's something else that's different. So on this one you had your 2 channels to choose from. This time it's on a single button. So if we select channel 1 and then go into the settings here, so we have got the task here, and if I go into charge, we've got external discharge. So if I select that there, it's not doing anything. It won't allow me to go into it because I don't have a battery connected to it. But I think it will allow you to discharge up to 15 amps as well. So the problem with discharging, you know, internally is that it basically just goes up in heat and it takes forever. So it's good that you have that option. Of course, you aren't really discharging, you're just moving it around, you know, so I don't think I would use that feature, but it's got it. But other than that, you can see the menu is very similar. We have got more options when it comes to the battery type. So we've got smart battery this time, and we have also got HV, which was on the previous one, but we've got this option here, Ally XX, and what that allows you to do is it allows you to select a custom cell voltage. Now this could be quite dangerous, and it goes all the way up to 4.7 volts per cell. But you know, if you're wanting to do something very specific with a battery, then that could be quite useful, I guess. And let's have a look what we've got down here as well. So yeah, we've got just more different options really, and you can install firmware on it as well. So we've got USB on the side there for the firmware. We've got USB out as well, so 5 volt 2.1 amps. This one has got that as well though, I should say. So something that's great about both of these chargers, and I didn't pick up on it on my initial review, is that it automatically guesses the cell count when you plug the battery in. So if I select 2S there, for example, and then if we go back here, and then if I plug the battery in and then plug in the balance port, so it shows you the voltage there and the individual cells. If we go back into here, you can see it's already selected it as a 4S. So the current setting here goes all the way up to 50 amps. Of course it won't do that if the AC is just plugged in, but that is fine for me. And by the way, I've also turned the beep off as well, so if I click back, if you long press this button here, we have got separate parameters. So we've got like a safety timer, a max capacity, and end current. And if I go back here, so system parameters, so we have got the language and, you know, max power input. You can select that. The backlight is pretty nice, and you can adjust that. Wireless charge. So yes, this charger has got a built-in wireless charger. Now I'm not sure if this is any use, because I think recent phones for the most part don't have wireless charging built into them, and I did a lot of testing with wireless charging and I gave up on it in the end because it was just too inefficient. There is a lot of heat that goes on, and there's a lot of energy that is lost doing wireless charging, and it takes absolutely forever to charge your phone compared to just plugging it into the fast chargers that we've got these days. But it's got it if you need it. And then we've got the volume there, so it's just like a beep, but it's quite annoying, so I've turned that off. But yeah, we have got other stuff in here, so we've got various calibrations, you know, restore factory settings, etc. So another slight upgrade with this one over the ISDT is the balance port amp rate. So when you're charging your batteries and it looks like they are almost done, but then it seems to take forever to do the last step, that's because that's where the balancing part happens. And this one can do it at a rate of 1.6 amps, and this one can do it at 1 amp. So technically this one should do the balancing part a little bit quicker than the ISDT. So I think this is a pretty good charger, and I think it is nicely priced. There is just one thing that is going to stop this from being my main charger over this one, and that is the noise that it makes. Now, I'm really lazy and I leave this plugged in. I probably shouldn't, but it's been plugged in every day for a year and it's not failed yet, so I don't know whether it's meant to be used like that. But when you plug it in, it is quiet. So we've got these two fans at the back here, and they do run when you plug it in, but I think because there's two of them, you can't hear them whatsoever. This one, it's got the one fan, and I'll put it up to the microphone. It is quite noisy. So I know it's a personal thing, but that is the only thing that is stopping this being my main charger, is that I have it plugged in constantly, and that fan is making a loud noise. Now you're probably thinking that is picky, and you're right, but when I've got this one that doesn't make a noise when it's just sort of in standby mode, I'm gonna pick this one, and I will use this one. I think this one is probably a better all-round charger, because you've got the option to field charge it as well as have it in the house, and we've got the small form factor there. So I think I would recommend it, but for me, the fact that that fan is just a little bit too noisy, this one I think is still gonna do the job for me. So there you go, that is my review of the Hobbymate D6 Duo Pro Charger. I will link it in the below if you wish to get one, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.